Hello, I'm Matthew Hutton, Chair of the Trustees of Community Chaplaincy Norfolk, and also myself, an active mentor. Mel Wheeler, our manager, Ian Johnson, an experienced mentor, and I hope that this brief introduction to being a mentor will not only inform but also interest and indeed excite you, in the hope that you might want to enrol on one of our initial training courses. Without our wonderful team of mentors and our clients with whom we work, both before and after leaving prison, CCN would quite simply not exist. I like to think of us as the CCN family, comprising all of trustees, staff in the form of Mel and our administrator, Paula Callum, mentors and clients, along with a host of supporters and well-wishers, many of whom have joined the Friends of CCN. So without further ado, I will hand over to Mel, who will explain something of what being a mentor involves and how the training works. Over to you, Mel.
Thank you, Matthew. I have a few slides which I'd like to share with you, and I'll just talk through, first of all, what we're looking for in a CCN prospective mentor. So we ask that our mentors are at least age 25 plus. This is to ensure that people have a little bit of life experience and also that people are open to our Christian ethos. This does not mean that we require all mentors to be practicing Christians themselves. In fact, we're very keen to recruit people from all walks of life and all faiths. We also ask that a prospective mentor has a minimum of 2 years since any personal involvement with the criminal justice system, and this is important for the protection of both the individual and our organisation. A prospective mentor needs to be non-judgmental and what we like to call professionally friendly, so have an attitude of compassion towards some potentially challenging disclosures and attitudes that they may come across in their client work, to greet those in a professional yet friendly manner, to have a degree of clarity about the nature of the mentoring relationship. The person needs to have good communication skills. Mentoring involves a lot of listening. The person needs to be organised and reliable. So many of our clients have been let down multiple times. It is important that our mentors do what they say they will do and do not make promises which they're unable to keep. We ask that our mentors, while they're never left to their own devices and they are supported by the Community Chaplaincy Norfolk team, we ask that our mentors have an ability to work independently and make judgment calls about their client work with support from myself as the CCN manager. We also ask that mentors have basic IT skills. As part of our membership for the wider National Community Chaplaincy Association, we're fortunate enough to have access to a secure database, and we ask that our mentors input information about clients onto the database. Full training is given in order to equip people to be able to do this. And lastly, and possibly most importantly, we ask that all mentors have a respect for confidentiality. It's really important not to discuss clients with anybody outside of community chaplaincy. I'd like to say a little bit about the training which we offer to our mentors. The initial training is a 7 or 8 week course, usually running at 2 hours per week. Afternoon and evening sessions may be available. And we offer these trainings both face-to-face and sometimes on Zoom as well. We provide an introduction to working for Community Chaplaincy Norfolk, some kind of orientation and history of our organisation. We offer a module about safeguarding. We'll be working with vulnerable people, so how to spot and report any safeguarding concerns is an important part of the training. We speak a lot about boundaries, the do's and don'ts. We ask that all mentors have a dedicated mobile phone and that no personal contact details are given out to clients. We talk a lot about that in the training. We do a session about effective communication, about active listening, how to appropriately challenge, how to withhold opinions or advice which is not sought by the clients, and how to keep the focus on the client's goals rather than the mentor's goals. We also offer an introduction to the criminal justice system, a lot of the acronyms that are used in the criminal justice system. And we speak a little bit about some of the challenges and experiences that clients may have faced on their journeys, as well as providing an introduction to the prison and probation services. We do some work around goal setting and theories of change, and speak about managing expectations on the rate and degree of change that our clients may undertake. Of course, people can change, but it may be that that process might be slow or meandering. The final module is for women who would like to work with female offenders. So we've developed another couple of modules on the end of our training for anybody who specifically would like to work with women. This is a group training. It's interactive. We provide resources and suggestions for further reading, as well as some handouts. The training has a PowerPoint element, but also plenty of group discussion. We know that a lot of volunteers come with a wealth of experience, and we totally welcome the input from the delegates who are taking part in the training. The training does not obligate you to become a mentor for CCN, and neither does it obligate CCN to take on anybody who completes the training. At the end of the training, there'll be a discussion about whether mentoring is suitable, and then we will ask for 2 references and provide some induction and further training before a mentor is invited to take their first client. Working with Community Chaplaincy Norfolk shouldn't cost a volunteer anything, and we reimburse all expenses for reasonable travel, refreshments and car parking, as well as phone credit. I want to say a few words about how a mentor might typically work with a client. There's no such thing as a typical client, so this is quite a difficult thing to put in a nutshell. But the process is that the manager, myself, will source referrals and conduct an initial assessment meeting with a client and explain what Community Chaplaincy Norfolk does. And once I've determined that that individual would like to sign up for some support, I will allocate them to a mentor. And then call the mentor and let them know who that person is and advise them how they can make contact with the client, whether they're still in prison or in the community. It may be that the mentor begins that relationship by making professional visits to the prison, by making phone calls, writing letters, or using the Email a Prisoner service. Those initial contacts and making that relationship strong from the start are really important. We also offer a meet at the gate service for any of our clients who want it. So we go in twos to meet someone from the gate on the day of their release from prison and support them to attend appointments such as probation and other agencies, and help them to find accommodation or attend to make a benefit claim or whatever else needs doing on day one. And then it's the responsibility of the mentor to arrange with their clients appointments at suitable times and venues, to get alongside the client, to set goals and to work towards them. Some people prefer a structured approach and others just want to be heard. We offer both sides of the gate service. So if a client happens to reoffend or is recalled to prison, that's not automatically an end to the mentoring relationship. The mentor would still be able to communicate with that client and stay in touch with them until their subsequent release. After the initial training is completed, people are not just left to their own devices. If you were to choose to become a mentor, you would receive ongoing training and support. So we offer both group support meetings once every 6 weeks or so. In In ordinary circumstances, we provide these in the format of a face-to-face get-together with a shared meal, and we invite along guest speakers from relevant local agencies, so you as a mentor can find out more about other services which might be useful to your client. During lockdown, these meetings still continue and they take place on Zoom instead. I also send out once a month at least an e-newsletter, which is full of resources and information, some opportunities for other free training for mentors from external providers or online, as well as details of training and education opportunities for clients. Each of the mentors are asked to commit to attending a one-to-one support meeting approximately every 4 to 6 weeks with me or our lead mentor, and that could take place by phone, on Zoom, or face-to-face. And this is basically a client management supervision, an opportunity to talk through any issues that you might be experiencing with your clients, a space for me to give you ideas about other ways that you might work with your client. I can see client notes that mentors make on the case management system. So as mentioned, you are supported fully at all times when you're mentor with CCN. As well as this more structured support, that we also have an open door policy. So in between one-to-one appointments, there's a chance to call or email or ask for advice from myself or our administrator with any issues that you have come up against with your client work. So that's a very brief overview. I'm just going to hand over now to one of our very experienced mentors, Mr. Ian Johnson.
Yes, hello. I'm Ian Johnson, and I want to tell you what it's like being a mentor of someone released from prison. I've been involved with this voluntary work for the past 5 years, most recently with CCN, and I've worked with men in prison for the past 25 years. And so I think I know what one of the main goals that men want, most thing that they want, is hope. Hope that the future will be better, that they will not make the same mistakes over and over again. Hope that they can aspire to be someone with pride, self-esteem, that they can feel respected and valued and loved. Most know that they've let loved ones down and they just want life to be different and better and to go on being different and better in the future. So as a mentor, I want to try to build on that hope. Hope that they can and will rebuild their lives successfully. Hope that this time in prison will indeed be the last. Hope that they can learn from past mistakes and hope that they can indeed have a good future. So how do I go about doing this? Well, I've got to start by walking alongside these men, literally, demonstrating that I am someone who really cares, wanting the best for them, believing the best in them. I want to be someone who sets a personal example of reliability and integrity, someone whom they can trust, someone who delivers on promises made, someone who doesn't tell them what to do, but rather empowers them to make good decisions, to set priorities, and to manage financially. Together, we can review when things go well and learn from mistakes made. I think I'm someone who tries to act humbly and kindly, but always persevering. Over the years, they will have encountered many who've given up on them. They may even have given up on themselves at times. I am to be someone who will not give up on them, even if they do regress, even if they do return to prison, even if they do slip back into old ways of drug or alcohol abuse and robbery to finance these addictions. I need to be someone who accepts disappointment without showing it, always looking for positives to work with in order to move forward. I know that I'm in for the long haul. Working as a mentor is not a quick fix, and I'm prepared for this. So what do I do? Well, as we've already heard, if at all possible, I meet with those who I'm mentoring whilst they're in prison to begin to develop a relationship with them. On release day, I would expect to meet them at the prison gate and take them probably to their first probation meeting and on to their accommodation. I'm keen to source important resources for them. A phone if they've not got one, and possibly a bike, so that we can stay in touch and they can stay in touch with everybody else, particularly in these COVID times. I may need to take them to register at the doctor's or job centre. They may need help with filling in the forms for universal credit or housing benefit, or I may be signposting them to people and places where they can get food or clothing. Once on his feet, we need to set a time for weekly meeting where he can decide on goals to aim for and the steps needed to achieve them. Future meetings will assess these goals and praise success. As a mentor, it's great to know that I'm not alone. Paula, our administrator, is available with all sorts of practical advice. She's a mentor herself, as is Mel, whom you've already met, CCN's manager, who has a huge amount of experience and wisdom to tap onto and to value. So why am I a mentor? Because I want to help someone make a success of his life, to give him the hope that he can and will achieve what he's hoping for. Because I care about those who struggle with chaotic lifestyles, or those who slipped into addictions but clearly and dearly want to change. Because I want to help those whom others would give up on. Because I want to help those from prison take control of their lives, live with the consequences of their actions, and develop into men who can feel justifiably proud of themselves and what they have achieved. It's hard work, immensely challenging but rewarding, and I'd recommend being a mentor of ex-offenders as one of the most worthwhile activities that anyone can aspire to. Now back to Matthew.
Ian and Mel, thank you both so much. So there it is. I do hope that this brief presentation will have given you some insight into how it all works. And please remember, as Mel has said, that if you do decide to sign up to our training, you're not committing yourself to anything. Do have a further look at our website, and if you haven't done so already, at the wonderful 6-minute video dating from November 2019, which gives a really good feel for how the whole mentor-client relationship works. And do feel free to fire any questions or thoughts you may have across any of Mel, Ian or me. Thank you for joining us and for listening. Goodbye.